In the grand kingdom of Edoria, there lived a handsome young prince named Paul. Paul was no ordinary prince. He was kind, wise, and deeply curious about the lives of the common people. Though he lived in a palace of gold, surrounded by luxury, Paul often wondered what it would be like to live as an ordinary man. He had had tales of hardship, struggle, and joy among the people, but he wanted to experience it for himself. One day, Paul decided to embark on an adventure that would change his life forever. He donned tattered clothes, smashed dirt on his face, and left the palace with nothing but a small scarslow. Disguised as a beggar, he wandered into the bustling town square, where life brimmed with energy. He marveled at the vendors shouting about their wares, the children playing, and the laughter that filled the air. Despite the appearance hardship people face, but not everyone was kind to Paul in his disguise. As he approached a group of elegantly dressed ladies who were chatting by a fountain, he hoped to test their kindness. "Excuse me, kind ladies," he said humbly, bowing his head. "Could you spare a little food or water? I have traveled far and am very hungry." The ladies turned to look at him, and their faces twisted in disdain. "Who let this filthy beggar into the square?" One of them sneered, covering her nose with a stink handkerchief. "He probably wants to trick us into giving him money," another added, laughing mockingly. "Shush, beggar, the third shame in you. You find no charity here." They burst into laughter. Their jewels necklace glinted in the sunlight as they pointed at him. Paul felt a pang of sadness, but said nothing. He bowed slightly and walked away, the laughter ringing in his ear. As he walked further, he saw a beautiful young lady walking down the street and decided to test her. "Please, beautiful one, can you help give me money to buy water? I'm thirsty." The lady looked at him with disgust eyes. "Who gave you the right to beg me for money? Get out of here, you stink." Paul looked at her, tears falling from his eyes. He was so disappointed at the way she treated him. "Why are they like this?" he said. "These ladies don't even have a good heart to help a poor beggar." He was really disappointed. As he wandered further, he came across a quiet corner of the square, where a modest bakery stood outside. A young woman with simple but clean clothes was sweeping the doorstep. She looked up as Paul approached, her kind brown eyes meeting his. "Are you all right, sir?" she asked gently, noticing his wearing expression. I am just a traveler," Paul replied, his voice faintly. "I have no money and no food. I don't mean to trouble you." The girl gave him a warm smile. "Trouble? Nonsense. Wait here." She disappeared into the bakery and returned a moment later with a small loaf of bread and a cup of water. "Here," she said, handing them to him. "It's not much, but it's fresh." Paul was touched by her kindness. "Thank you, miss. You are very generous." The girl laughed softly. "My name is Jenny, and there's no need to thank me. Everyone needs a little help now and then." Paul sat on a nearby bench, eating the bread gratefully. As he ate, he watched Jenny return to her work, her moments graceful and unhurried. She had no jewels, no fine clothes, yet there was a quiet beauty about her that fascinated him. Over the next few days, Paul stayed in the town, often returning to Jenny's bakery. He helped her with small tasks, carrying sacks of flour, fixing a broken stool, or sweeping the floor in return. She gave him meals and a warm place to rest. They talked about life, dreams, and the struggles of the town folk. Jenny didn't pry into his past, but Paul learned much about her. She was an orphan who had inherited the bakery from her late parents. Though life was hard, she found joy in serving others and keeping her parents' legacy alive. One day, while they were baking together, Paul asked, "Jenny, do you ever wish for more? A grander life, perhaps?" She paused, considering his question. "I think everyone dreams of a better life," she admitted, "but I'm contented with what I have. Happiness doesn't come from riches or ties. It comes from the people around you and the good you do." Paul was deeply moved by her word. For the first time, he began to question the meaning of his own life as a prince. Weeks passed and Paul's feelings for Jenny grew stronger, but he knew he couldn't keep his true identity hidden forever. One evening, as the sun dipped below, he decided to tell her the truth. "Jenny," he began, his voice serious, "there's something I must confess." She looked at him curiously. "What is it?" "I am not really a beggar," he said slowly. "I am a prince, Paul of Edoria." For a moment, Jenny stared at him in disbelief. Then she laughed nervously. "You are joking, right?" Paul shook his head. "I swear it's the truth. I disguised myself to understand the lives of my people, and now I've found someone who has shown me the true meaning of kindness." Jenny's face turned pale. "A prince? You are a prince?" "Yes," Paul said, taking her hands in his, "and I want you to come with me to the palace. I want the world to know your goodness, just as I do." "No, I am angry at you. Why did you lie to me? Is it that you don't trust that I will be with you? Is that how you rate me?" "No, Jenny," the prince said. "I just need a good soul, so that together we will rule my kingdom, and your good heart has earned you the position." Jenny was overwhelmed. "But I am just a baker's daughter. I don't belong in a palace." "You belong wherever your heart is," Paul replied, "and my heart is with you." Jenny accepted. The next day, Paul returned to the palace and revealed his identity to the townfolk. He invited Jenny to the palace, where she was welcomed with open arms. The news spread quickly, and the ladies who had once mocked him were filled with jealousy. How could a mere baker's daughter win the prince's heart? They whispered angrily. But Jenny paid them no mind. She stood by Paul's side with grace and dignity, proving that true worth comes from the heart, not wealth or status. After their marriage, Paul made Jenny an equal partner in ruling the kingdom. Though she had no formal education in governance, her wisdom and connection to the common people became her greatest strength. She often held open forums in the palace garden, inviting farmers, craftsmen, and merchants to share their problems and ideas. One day, during one such forum, a young farmer approached Jenny and bowed deeply. "Your Highness," he began nervously, "my village suffers from a drought, and our crops are failing. Could the palace spare water from the royal reservoir?" Jenny listened intently. "Your plight will not be ignored," she said with determination. "Paul and I will ensure your village receive aid immediately." True to her word, Jenny organized relief efforts. She personally invited the village with supplies, including barren of water and seed that could grow even in harsh conditions. Paul accompanied her, overseeing the construction of new wells to ensure the villagers had a lasting solution. This hands-on approach endeared the royal couple to the people even more. They wasn't just rulers, they were caretakers of the land, its inhabitants. However, not everyone in the court was pleased with the new princess. The same ladies who had mocked Paul in his beggar's disguise now whispered behind Jenny's back. They resented her influence over the prince and were envious of the love the people had for her. She's nothing but a commoner, one of them hissed during a royal banquet. A baker's daughter who thinks she's a queen, another added, her voice dripping with scorn. Un- Unbeknownst to them, Jenny overheard their remarks, though their words stung. She chose not to retaliate. Instead, she continued to focus on her duties, proving her worth through her actions. Her chance to silence her critics came during the annual harvest festival, a grand celebration where nobles from neighboring kingdoms were invited. This year, Jenny took charge of organizing the event. She insisted that it be inclusive, with free food and entertainment for both nobles and commoners. Some members of the court scoffed at the idea. You can't mingle pleasant and aristocrat, they argued, and Paul supported her wholeheartedly. This kingdom belongs to everyone, he declared, and so does this celebration. The festival was a resounding success. The palace grounds were transformed into a vibrant carnival, with stalls offering delicacy, games, and music. Jenny's personality greeted the guests, her warm winning over even the most skeptical nobles. During the festival, the same ladies who had ridiculed Paul as a beggar and mocked Jenny's humble origin found themselves overshadowed. Their jewels and fine gown paled in comparison to Jenny's natural charm and genuine kindness. I never imagined someone so simple could have such grace, one of them admitted gradually. As the night wore on, Paul took Jenny's hand and led her to the dance floor. The crowds parted and the couple danced under a canopy of stars. Their love for each other was evident in every step, leaving everyone in awe. In the weeks that followed, Jenny's critics grew quiet, while some still harbored jealousy. Others began to respect her for her dedication to the kingdom. Even the harshest nobles couldn't deny the positive changes she and Paul had brought to Edoria. Years passed and Jenny gave birth to their first child, a boy. They named Elias. The people rejoiced, for the future of the kingdom seemed brighter than ever. Jenny and Paul raised Elias to understand the value of humility and kindness, teaching him the lessons they had learned during their journey together. As Elias grew older, Jenny often told him stories of how she met Paul. Your father once walked among the people as a beggar, she would say with a smile. It was in those moments that he found his greatest treasure, not gold or jewels, but the love and trust of his people. Elias listened intently, his young mind soaking in the wisdom of his parents. He vowed to follow in their footsteps and be a ruler who served with compassion. Meanwhile, Jenny's influence spread beyond Edorian neighboring kingdoms, sought her advice on governance and charity. Queen and princesses traveled to Edoria to learn from her, hoping to replicate her success. One day, as Jenny walked through the palace garden, she encountered one of the ladies who had once mocked her. The woman approached hastily, her face a mix of shame and admiration. Your Highness, she began, I owe you an apology. I misjudged you greatly. You have shown us all what true nobility look like. Jenny smiled gently. It's never too late to change, she replied. What mattered is what we do moving forward. The woman bowed deeply, her respect for Jenny genuine. As the years went by, Paul and Jenny continued to rule with wisdom and compassion. They built schools, hospitals, and shelters, ensuring that every citizen of Edoria had a chance at a better life. When they finally grew old, their legacy was cemented in the hearts of their people. Songs were sung about the prince who became a beggar and the baker's daughter who became a queen. And so, the story of Paul and Jenny live on, a timeless reminder that love, humility, and kindness could transform even the grandest of kingdoms. Thanks for watching.